The day was Valentine's Day, 1967, in Tuscumbia, Missouri. My home state, boys. Missouri pride! A Mr. Claude Edwards of age 64 was walking outside to tend to his fields per usual. As he picked up his feed buckets and turned to go feed the cows, he noticed, what the freak is that? A rather large and very strange object was just sitting in the middle of one of his fields. This object was greenish gray in color and shaped like a giant mushroom. It was about 8 feet tall, and the top of it, not the stem, the top of it seemed to be about 18 feet in diameter. As Edward was very perplexed, he decided to put his bucket down next to the barn and lock it before turning back around and noticing there were these strange creatures running around the craft. He began running towards the craft to figure out what the frick is happening right now. As he got to a fence, he was about 70 feet away from it, and he could see these creatures were shaped oddly like penguins. They were 3 feet tall. They were about the same color as the object behind them. They were running frantically in circles. He decided to get a little closer. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would you go closer to a weird object with strange creatures running around in your field? Why would you? This is Missouri we're talking about. As a fellow Missourian, I understand. I also run headlong towards mysterious things. That's not even me being like, haha, funny, what this guy. No, I would do the same thing. And plus, it's in his field, like messing with his cows. You're just not on that farmer grind set, okay? So he hopped the fence and got a little closer. There was another fence in the way. There were 2 fences in the way. He got even closer. He was about 30-ish feet from the aircraft at this point, meaning he had a much better view of the creatures. He said these creatures had black eyes that were spread pretty far across their face. They had a weird protrusion from where their nose and mouth would be, which we now kind of guess is like a gas mask or something, maybe a breathing apparatus. They flailed about really dramatically. They flailed their arms all over the place. He said that they flailed so quickly that he could not discern whether or not they had hands, which is hilarious. Like, just so fast you can't see if they have hands or not. Their feet were obscured by the clothes that they were wearing, so he couldn't tell if they actually had feet or if they were just weird, like, cylindrical things all the way to the floor, which is a really funny image of an alien, I guess. But that does actually align with penguins because, you know, like, I don't think it's technically blubber, but, you know, they're like chub. Their feather stuff goes low enough to the ground, and then their feet are just tiny, and that's why they waddle around. I guess it was like that or something. Edwards was not about to let this trespass slide, as any Missourian in their right mind would not allow, and he hopped the fence, the other fence, to get even closer. About 15 feet away, he just stopped. He said he couldn't feel it, but he couldn't physically walk past that point. There was some sort of invisible wall keeping him away from this strange craft. He was very awestruck for a minute, but now he's standing there, like, taking it all in, and he gives us a little bit deeper of an explanation on what he saw. The aircraft, this is when he gives us the dimensions of 18 feet on the top and about 8 feet tall. He also said that there were these ovals that were about a foot wide all along the top, and they were spread about a foot apart. And he said they were not windows as far as he could tell, because they illuminated, they emitted light from themselves, and it was like a color wheel just spinning inside of these things, which is so cool, dude. But we got freaking space RGB obsessed penguins before GTA 6, guys. Bruh. Edwards, again not okay with this trespass, began to chuck rocks at the UFO. He was chucking them allegedly in hopes of breaking the UFO in some way so that it could not take off. He wanted it to stay stuck so that he could, like, get the authorities or something, obviously, so that, you know, he wasn't crazy, and this could be revolutionary. So he started throwing rocks at it to try and, like, keep it here. it failed. It didn't work, okay? He threw a rock, and sure enough, it just bounced off the force field. But he kept throwing rocks. And as soon as he started, all of the creatures started freaking out and flailing even more. They sprinted around the backside of the UFO, and he said supposedly there must have been a porthole in there or something, but he couldn't see it because it was on the backside. But they all disappeared around behind it as the UFO just into the sky and then shot off into the distance. Edwards was left there like, what the freak just happened? Rightfully so. This was the story of the Tuscumbia Space Penguins, which is a freaking fire name. If I was an alien, I would want to be a penguin alien. No, I wouldn't. That's a lie. But there's just so much there. There's just so much there. Now the question is, did this really happen? Or was Edwards just clout chasing? And I'm here to tell you that I am not a debunking YouTuber. However, this is interesting. To be fair, Edwards didn't really have anything to gain by claiming that aliens landed in his field and giving no adequate evidence to anybody. He didn't have anything to gain. He's a Midwestern farmer, okay? He's just gonna get ridiculed. Everyone around here is Christian. Nobody around here, especially at this time, believes in aliens. What are you gonna get? You're literally just gonna get told, you saw a demon at the very best. Other than that, everyone's gonna claim that you're a liar. He had nothing to gain, which is why he did not tell the story. Yeah, that's where it gets a little iffy, okay? So he told somebody named Ted Phillips. And he told Ted Phillips, do not, under any circumstances, tell anybody that it was me who saw this. I want to stay anonymous until I die. Then you can say that it was me who saw all this. Who is Ted Phillips? He's a UFO investigator. So he had a lot to gain by making this story up. So, for all we know, he could have literally just seen somebody die and been like, hey guys, that guy saw a UFO, but I wasn't allowed to talk about it till he died. Like, let's be real here. But who is to say? Because, like, honestly, the US government has accepted that there are just flying pills that go around. And they're from outer space, apparently. They're, like, extraterrestrial. I know what they are. They're not aliens. I need to make a video about that. If those can exist, who's to say that these space penguins don't exist, right? I'm not saying they don't. But it would make sense for him to clout chase a little bit because this was a UFO investigator who claimed it. So it is good to take it with a grain of salt, but it's super mad interesting, and it's just some like elite ball Missourian knowledge that I wanted to share with you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. You should subscribe to the channel because we're trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of 2025. I have never gotten 500 subscribers before, and I've had 4 or 5 different YouTube channels where I tried different things. I think the furthest I got was like 140 subs. So if we could get 500 by the end of 2025, I would be on cloud 9, okay? So make sure and hit that subscribe button so we can get to that goal. If you've got any video ideas, video recommendations, hit me with them. I would love to hear them. I have gotten like 0 so far, and I've asked in every single video. Come on, bro. I know you got something that you're like, oh, that would be funny. Come on, just give it to me. And with all of that, I think I'm just gonna say, this was the Ratman, out.